Hello YouTube, Elmas to show off here, and I have for you guys today a really good and really close OU Wi-Fi battle. And of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, then make sure to hit the like button down below. And if you guys would like to have a chance to battle me, then make sure to follow me on Twitter, because I am running low on Wi-Fi battles, so I definitely am going to be looking for them very frequently over the next few days, just to kind of stockpile them up. And I'm actually going to be trying something a little bit different with this upload. As you guys may know, I normally speed up my battles, but for this one I'm gonna narrate it off of the replay, and I want you guys to leave a comment down below letting me know if you like this better or if you'd like me to have the battle sped up. And just, yeah, of course, let me know in the comment section below. So going into this match, the biggest threats I saw on my opponent's team were probably just going to be Gallade and Scissor. Depending on what kind of set Gallade is will determine on how I can deal with it. And Scissor shouldn't be that big of an issue unless it's a Swords Dance variant. So he's going to be leading off with the Scissor, as I'm actually going to be leading off with my Magnezone. And I make a bit of a foolish play and I go for the Volt Switch. The reason why I did this is because I didn't want to lock myself into Hidden Power Fire and give him free leeway to bring in Latios and potentially pull a double switch into Gallade, as he probably predicted me to bring in Ferrothorn. Plus, I knew that he most likely would just end up going for Superpower this turn, or maybe going for U-turn. Most likely Superpower, just because most Scizors nowadays that I've seen are banded. So judging from the damage that I did at -1, he is definitely banded. Then this turn I'm actually going to end up going for the knockoff. In hindsight, I probably should have gone for the U-turn, because I do lose a bit of momentum by going for knockoff. So if I had gone for U-turn, I could have just U-turned right on out into my Latios or my Deontay. As I switch into Deontay, predicting him to go for the Hidden Power Ice, I know that I will be able to take it. I can then Mega Evolve and hit him up with a Diamond Storm. However, though, he gets extremely lucky and gets the 10% burn, which really sucks, because now my Deontay will be taking residual damage every turn. So I'm just going to go ahead and Mega Evolve, hoping that maybe he would stay in for whatever reason, thinking that he could take any move that I wanted to go for, and then I could hit him with a modest Moonblast. Actually, no, I think I'm Rash Natured, which is still plus special attack. The reason why I'm Rash is because I have Diamond Storm, so Moonblast still would have done a pretty good chunk of damage to the Zapdos, as he actually ends up bringing in the Mew, and I only do about 40%, which does kind of suck, because I'm going to be forced to switch out this turn, because Mew can easily just stay in and just keep roosting or soft bowling until the burn is able to knock me out. As I bring in my Magnezone, I'm hoping that a Thunderbolt will be a 2-hit KO, as he makes a bit of a bad play and he ended up going for the roost. I guess maybe he thought that I was Scarfed, which wouldn't be a bad assumption, but judged for how much damage I did to the Zapdos, he should have definitely known that I was Specs. But then again, I am probably more, I don't want to say that I'm more experienced, but he probably didn't know the damage output of a Specs Volt Switch to Scizor. So in my opinion, it wasn't that bad of a play that he went straight for the roost, as I'm going to be able to just about, just barely 2-hit KO the Mew. This turn he makes a very, very nice play, predicting me to just stay in and go for another Thunderbolt. He's actually going to bring in the Magnezone, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, he's going to switch in the Magnezone, he's going to switch in the Magnezone, I should definitely pull a double switch. And unfortunately, I went against my gut, and he basically gets a free switch into Magnezone, as he's going to be able to outspeed me and actually OHKO me with this Hidden Power Fire. So I'm thinking that maybe he is actually Specs, so I may have to watch out for this thing, as knowing that he is 99.9% locked into Hidden Power Fire, I'm actually going to switch directly into my Latios, and I really have no reason to not just go for the Psyshock. I know that he's not going to bring in Latios. He most likely is going to fodder off the Mew or fodder off the Scizor. This way, I still have my neutral special attack set, as where I would be at -2 if I did decide to go for the Draco Meteor. So he decides to bring in the Magnezone. Sorry, escaped my mind there for a second. And then, for some reason, I switched into my Ferrothorn. I'm thinking that I thought that he would go for the Flash Cannon, but he makes the better play and actually goes straight for the Volt Switch, which was also a bit risky on his part because I do still have my Landorus. As he Volt Switches into the Gallade, I was really hoping and praying that he would not go straight for the close combat and that he would not turn out to be like a sub SD or a sub bulk up variant, because if he did carry Substitute, I probably would have actually got swept by this Gallade right here. But I make a very risky and ballsy play, and I stay in predicting him to go for the Swords Dance and not go straight for the close combat, because I still do have Landorus, and I'm going to be able to paralyze this Gallade with my Thunder Wave, which is going to be very helpful to me later in this match. So this turn, of course, fearing that he could possibly go straight for the close combat, I decided just to switch directly into my Deontay. With me being burned and getting this residual damage every turn, Deontay really is not that helpful to me anymore. Plus there's a chance he could get fully paralyzed, but he doesn't get paralyzed, and he's going to be able to destroy my Deontay with the close combat. But with him being at -1 defense, I can now just basically bring in my Azumarill, and I was actually very close to going straight for the knockoff this turn, but ultimately I decided to go for the Waterfall, because if he did bring in Scizor, I didn't want to risk knockoff possibly not knocking out Scizor and then him getting off damage on me with a Bullet Punch. So I decided just to make the aggressive play, go straight for the Waterfall, as he probably did predict me to go for the Play Rough, but I actually don't carry Play Rough on this Azumarill. So as he brings in the Zapdos, even though I am Assault Vested, I still don't want to take a Thunderbolt. Plus I can see if he either has T-Bolt or Volt Switch, and then that'll be some good useful information for later in this match, as he makes a very nice double switch into his Latios, predicting me to bring in my Latios. Obviously I am not going to risk a speed tie, so I'm going to be forced to switch out, as it turns out that he is Choice Scarfed and he tricks me his Scarf and takes away my Assault Vest. This really limits my Azumarill now, and this is gonna come to play later in this match. So he's gonna switch out this turn, as I make a really bad play. Honestly, going for knockoff was the worst play I could have done. If anything, I should have gone for Scald, because there was a chance I could have burned whatever he decided to bring in, and then I could have also just gone for the Waterfall. But the switch into Zapdos was very obvious, and I just knockoffing was a terrible play on my part. As he goes for the Roost, I'm going to be able to get a free switch into my Latios, and I'm going to go for the Psyshock as opposed to the Draco Meteor, because I want to gauge to see how much damage Psyshock will do, so I can determine if he is physically defensive or especially defensive. As judging from that damage, he most likely is physically defensive, which means if I can get a crit or if he makes some misplay, I will hopefully be able to knock him out with the Draco Meteor. My game plan is to try to bring him around 50% HP, then go for the Draco Meteor so I can knock him out. So as you can see, he's going to stay in and just keep roosting up. In my mind, I was thinking if he really wants to just constantly keep going for Roost, as I mentioned, I will eventually get a crit, which is going to help me more in the long run, as thankfully he decides to go for the Hidden Power Ice this turn as opposed to going for the Roost, and now I'm going to be able to drop a nice hot Draco Meteor on whatever he decides to bring in. As he brings in the Magnezone, I know this will not be enough to knock out Magnezone, but I will be able to bring it down severely low, as judging from that damage, another Draco Meteor may have been able to knock him out, but I really didn't want to risk me getting a low damage roll, because I still need this Latios to get off that Draco Meteor on his Zapdos. So I switched right into my Landorus, hoping and praying that he would not Flash Cannon, and unfortunately he made the very good play of going for the Flash Cannon and utterly destroying my Landorus. As I bring in my Azumarill, it turns out that I'm actually faster than him. Now I don't know if this is where the Scarf actually came in handy, because I don't think that Azumarill is naturally faster than Magnezone, considering that my Magnezone was outsped by his Magnezone. So he's going to bring in the Zapdos, and I make a rather aggressive prediction, and I predict him to Hidden Power Ice, predicting me to switch out, fearing the Thunderbolt and I'm actually going to go for the waterfall, as this does a pretty solid chunk of damage. And this turn predicted him to go for the roost. I'm actually going to switch into my Latios, hoping that after the roost I can go for the Draco Meteor. If I don't knock him out, he may actually just go for the Hidden Power Ice, but he makes a rather aggressive but also kind of bad play by going straight for the Hidden Power Ice, because now I'm going to be able to bring in my Azumarill, and this Aqua Jet will actually be enough to knock out the Zapdos. Now at this point, my last two Pokemon are my Scarfed Azumarill and my Ferrothorn. His last two Pokemon are his Gallade and his Latios. And if I wasn't Choice Scarfed, after close combat I could then bring in my Azumarill. I could go for the waterfall on this Gallade. Even if I didn't knock it out, I had a 25% chance to paralyze him, and then there's a 20% chance to flinch him. So odds were in my favor that he most likely would get hacks in some way. I know that's something not good to rely on, but just on the off chance that waterfall was not strong enough to knock out Gallade, he may have got hacks. Plus, there was also a chance he could miss Zen Head. But either way, what I'm saying is, if he had taken a waterfall, there was a good chance that something would have happened to him, and then he wouldn't be able to get off any prior damage on my Azumarill. I would then be able to follow it up with another waterfall. Then Latios would not be able to knock me out with any one attack. However, though, because I am Scarfed, I'm in a very bad situation, as he got up to +6. He did not get paralyzed once, and at this point I pretty much gave up all hope of winning, because knockoff is only a 2-hit KO on this Gallade, and if I want any chance to win this at this point, I need to hope that he gets paralyzed, as he turns out to have the Shadow Sneak and does way too much damage to me. Luckily though, I'm able to take the hit, and I also have to hope that he doesn't have Psyshock on Latios. So he gets paralyzed finally, and I'm able to knock out the Gallade. Now it all comes down to whether or not he's gonna have Psyshock on his Latios, because remember, he's actually Choice Scarfed, and it turns out that he has Surf, Draco Meteor, Defog, and Trick. I'm able to live the Surf, and in return knock out the Latios, and that is going to be the very, very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So that was definitely a good, intense battle. I got really worried near the end of the match and just thought that I had lost at that point, but luckily the paralysis from Ferrothorn's Thunder Wave really came through, and then him having Surf over Psyshock really saved me there, and that was a solid match in my opinion. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the battle. If you did, make sure to hit the like button down below, and let me know if you guys like this slower narration style as opposed to when I speed up the battles, because I'm genuinely interested on what you guys think about it. And with that being said, thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow, so later.